Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. Happy Monday. First video of the week. Let's get straight into it. Like and subscribe for more of this content. You know, I post every Monday through Friday, so let's get it done. First things first, Bennedict Mathurin is going to be a restricted free agent next year. Now, the Pacers are going to let him kind of be a restricted free agent just so they can really figure out what kind of contract they want to give him. Now, I'm glad they're not jumping the gun and just giving him a crazy contract already. They're actually letting him play out this season, see how he does as a starter, and then they're going to figure out, how much money does he deserve? How much money can we give him? And I'm thinking it's going to be between 25 and 30 mil a year, which, if he plays great, that could even be a steal for us, but it all depends on how Mathurin kind of translates from being the sixth man, being one of the first people off the bench, to being a full-time starter for a season. But then there's also the possibility that it doesn't pan out as well as we want, and we either don't bring him back next year or we give him a lesser contract and then put him right back on the bench. So it all depends on how Mathurin plays this year. I'm hoping he plays good. He genuinely has all-star potential, and he is someone that can get you points whenever you need him, someone that can grab his rebounds from his position, pretty decent passer, creates his own shots, very good shooter, and probably number one in our team in getting to the foul line. I really don't see anyone getting to the foul line as much as he does, so those are always big pluses and positives for the team. So I'm just hoping he has a good season and waiting to see what he can really accomplish as a member of the Pacers, really starting lineup, of course. All right, now I know everyone doesn't like when we really bring up Myles Turner, and the only reason I'm talking about it is because I just kind of want to talk about how you can replace a player like Myles Turner. Now, we're talking about mainly replacing a homegrown player, not really like an all-star player. Because now, if Turner was here for 10 years and had made multiple all-stars and just randomly left, I think it would have been there definitely would have been a crazier reaction by us Pacers fans. But it was never really an all-star. Most he ever really averaged about 16, 17 points a game, never cracked 10 rebounds a game. But he was still a player that could space the floor very well. Sometimes a very inconsistent shooter, but always a consistent blocker. Had led the league in blocks. Could have been in some all-defensive team conversations. Now, outside of shot blocking, he wasn't the absolute best defender. But shot blocking helps. And that's kind of what we're bringing in with Jay Huff. Someone who can shot block but still kind of struggles a little bit on defense besides the blocking. So that's something to work on. And he's probably the best bet to fully replace Turner, at least what Turner actually did. Now, Isaiah Jackson is the absolute replacement. Now, if he can develop a three-point shot. I don't think he needs to. I think it's important for him to stay in the paint and just play a good pick and roll game with whoever's point guard, which this year will be Nembhard, and just kind of that 1-2 game in the paint with Siakam. Because Jackson's also a very good shot blocker, and Jackson was probably the best rebounder on the team last year before he got hurt. His per 36 stats, he would have been close to 11 to 12 rebounds a game if he played 36 minutes. So I'm thinking either one of those two could really be a full-on replacement. Now, all they got to do is really develop. Jackson's still very young. So is Huff. So they both got some time to really develop. And we'll see. We'll really just see how it goes. Now, training camp. Now, we've talked about it. There are 3 players on the roster that aren't fully guaranteed a roster spot. And those are DeLon Wright, James Wiseman, and Tony Bradley. Monte Morris would have been in that conversation, but I guess that calf injury after getting signed was pretty bad. Now, in my opinion, it's between DeLon and Tony of not getting re-signed. Just because I don't think we really need 4 centers. Now, obviously last season we did because all of our centers kept getting hurt. But now everyone's fully healthy. I'm expecting a fully healthy season, knock on wood. But I don't think that DeLon Wright is pretty much the player that we need, especially for our depth. I think there's better options out there. But I would like to see how he plays. I mean, he put up some decent numbers against us in the playoffs. Didn't play a lot of minutes, but he was that kind of guy on the, well, to be fair, a lot of players are that guy on the Knicks roster. It's at the end of the rotation, but he was kind of towards the end of the rotation. But he was playing a lot against us because Tibbs was actually trying to utilize players because he normally doesn't do that. But now he's with us, and I'll root for him because I do like him as a player. I thought he's always been productive on every team he's been on, but I just don't really see him being that guy that the Pacers need. If anything, he's going to be closer to the end of the bench, and he's really not going to play much. But that's the same thing with Tony Bradley. I think Tony would be the number one cut candidate. Now I could be horribly wrong, and Tony could end up looking better than James Wiseman, and Wiseman could easily be the one who's gone. But everyone else on the team, I think, is pretty solidified. So we'll just see who makes it out of training camp. Now, last but not least, a player that still very shocked that he hasn't been signed yet is Russell Westbrook. Now, I kind of see where teams are going with this. Westbrook has been a lot more inconsistent ever since he started with the Lakers. He's been very inconsistent. His numbers have declined. Obviously, he's already in his mid to late 30s. He's had a heck of a career, absolute first ballot Hall of Famer. But I could see him being like not crucial, but an important piece to the Pacers bench. Now, if he gets minutes, he gets minutes, but Westbrook is now kind of on that in that area where he's not fiending for big contracts anymore. He just wants to play basketball. I say bring him in and just see what happens. I would like to. I know I've never been the absolute biggest Westbrook fan, but I do respect his game and I do respect him as a player, and I think he could do big things. He still there's games where he still has triple doubles or he still has a 15 point or 10 assist or 10 rebound game. We know he's good for a lot of stuff. He's just not as consistent as he used to be. It's not an everyday thing now, but I still think he deserves to be in the NBA. I don't think he needs to go overseas or anything. But since the Warriors just signed a bunch of players, players like Westbrook, Ben Simmons, and them are still on the market, they should be getting picked up at some point. I don't think Simmons might, but Westbrook I hope does get picked up, and I'm hoping it's us. So we will keep monitoring that. I will keep just looking into that, seeing what can happen. But as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go, Sirs.